Hello and welcome to this week's episode of the Edges and Sledges Cricket Podcast. I'm your host, Ashwin. I'm joined by DJ. DJ, Happy New Year. I haven't gotten to do an episode with you since the New Year. Last week was just Varun and I. How are you doing?
I'm well, man. Happy New Year. Happy New Year to all our listeners as well. I missed the first episode of 2024. But I think you talked about the shortest test match in the history of test cricket. And
Yeah,
yeah,
not too much test cricket to talk about, but it's a day and a half, right? So
yeah, no, it was good. But yeah, Happy New Year to everybody. And looking forward to 2024, man. Like,
yeah,
promises to be an exciting year.
lots to come in the world of cricket. It started with a pretty positive note for the Indian team. Let's quickly recap. But I mean, India versus Afghanistan, bilaterals. We are the kings, undisputed kings of T20 bilaterals in India. No question about that, right? Can't win a multinational series, but bilaterals are where we have it. DJ, how are you feeling? Feeling pretty good about it? Or I think you watched more of it than I did. I watched when I was like, man, why do we keep playing these? Can we bring on the tests again? So I don't know how you're feeling.
Yeah, I watched the T20. I mean, I'm also watching the SA T20. I'm following New Zealand playing Pakistan. I'm watching the Australian Open. So, I mean, I watch this kind of stuff like every other sport that's going on at the moment, really. I mean, like I'm watching a bit of the BBL as well, which has been pretty funny in some cases with Warner flying in
The
on a
only
helicopter
thing,
and stuff.
yeah, the only thing from the BBL that I have watched, I just with time zones and the amount of cricket, I don't get to watch the big match. But the only thing I have watched, will you tell our listeners who missed it? I mean, if you missed it, by the way, you haven't been on socials because it has taken the social media world by storm. But yeah, David Warner, I think he was coming from a wedding. Is that why?
Yeah, so his brother was getting married, I think. So he
Okay,
came
that's
in
acceptable.
yeah, I guess so. He flew in on a helicopter and then he sledged Steve Smith,
Steve
and
Smith,
Steve Smith got out for a duck first ball, opening the batting. So
that's
the
too good.
new test opener of Australia got sledged by his sandpaper mate, David
Sandpaper
Warner.
mate, that's what they're calling
Yeah,
it.
his sandpaper
Nice.
mate David Warner, and he got out for a duck. But I mean, it's been a great week for socials generally, right? Like Steve Smith was playing tennis
With
with
Novak,
Djokovic.
the
Yeah,
GOAT. Yeah.
Djokovic was playing tennis as well, and cricket with who was bowling to him?
So Steve Smith bowled to him,
Oh,
and he missed a couple, and then he hit one right into the stands. And I was like,
okay.
tennis ball cricket is great. It's great to see the pros play tennis ball cricket, but more fun actually was Djokovic served like a full speed serve to Steve Smith, and Steve Smith returned like just it wasn't a great return, but he returned it back in the court, and
Yeah,
Djokovic like lost his mind, saying, "I can't believe you do it." And I'm sitting there saying, "This guy faces." 155 kilometer an hour with a much harder ball from a much shorter distance. I mean, a tennis serve. It's not like he's a good tennis player, but he's going to be able to get his
yeah.
bat down or the racket down, of course.
It wasn't actually a great return, as you said, but
No,
somebody
but
else was also playing tennis. Did you see the video of MS Dhoni just playing tennis?
I don't think I've seen
That
that one.
emerged on social media as well. We put a
Okay, what
link
are
in the
we
show
at? Three
notes.
minutes and then 16 seconds for DJ to bring up
It's
MS
pretty good.
Dhoni. How
It's
many
pretty
years
good.
after he retired will we keep this going? Anyway,
He's not retired. He's still playing IPL, dude.
I
Come on.
mean, as of 1929 hours, consider me retired. That's what I mean when I say
Is
he's
this what you
retired.
wake up and look at every morning?
Every
Like
morning I
at
wake up and look at that
1929,
text.
considering we retire. Was 14th August, was it? 15th August.
That I don't remember. That I trust you. Anyway, we're going on a
Hmm.
tangent. We'll talk a little bit more about Novak Djokovic actually in the second half because there's some fun news coming out about him and our boy Virat. But let us start with the India Afghanistan series. DJ, just to summarize, one in Mohali, one in Indore. Let me start by asking you first about the toss, and then I'll ask you about the team. Why did Rohit, after losing 11 tosses in a row, why did he win two tosses and then bat second both times? Is this not the kind of we know we're a pretty good chasing team? We know most T20 teams in venues in India are pretty good chasing teams.
Hmm.
Is this not the time to be trying out your batting depth and batting first, or do you think hey, listen, it's a series, points are points in a series, you take them, you try to give yourself the best chance of winning?
It's a tough one, actually. I think this is the last three T20s that we're playing before the T20 World Cup. Of course, there's a whole IPL to go
Yeah,
in
with the
amidst that, and
internationals.
there's Test cricket and stuff between that. But now that I'm thinking back, the last three T20 World Cups that we've lost. So last year we lost to England batting first. We put up a
Mm-hmm.
subpar total, chased
Mm-hmm.
down. I'm not even counting the 2020 2021 World Cup, which was India didn't even qualify for the knockouts. We lost the 152 for no loss to Pakistan game, right? So again, batting first, subpar total.
Mm-hmm.
Lost in Mumbai in 2016 to the West Indies in the semi-final. Again, batting first. Put
Mm-hmm.
on a decent total, 190, but lost. Then I'm going back to 2014, and we went to the final and lost to Sri Lanka with the choke from Malinga at the
Dude,
end.
do you have a
We,
scorecard in front of you, or is this
no,
just
no, no,
memory? That's
but this is
unbelievable.
this
Yeah.
is pretty obvious.
Yeah.
I mean, like we
Yeah.
get to these like again. I mean, I don't even want to say it like 2023 ODI. I don't want to conflate formats, but batted first and lost. So
Yeah.
chasing is become easier in limited over cricket, and I think there's
I think the
probably
data
some
probably
stats
supports
around
that
that.
too. Yeah, especially in India. I don't think there's a question about that. Right?
Yeah, but I guess there's a lot of stats that say that batting first at Mohali you don't win a lot. Yeah, more teams win batting second at Mohali. I don't know whether the weather played any role in that
It
because it
was
was really
freezing, by
cold.
the way. They looked so uncomfortable.
So
Yeah.
I was in Delhi like earlier this week,
Mm-hmm.
and oh my god, like North India is in some kind of like
It was
cold
really bad. I
wave.
was there a couple of days before you, and it was so bad, like
Yeah, and the
uncomfortably cold.
first
Yeah.
night I literally couldn't even sleep because it was that cold. And then next
Yeah.
night I asked, please give me a hot water bottle because you can't get warm. And then
Yeah.
Rohit
It's
said
hard.
that the catch that hit his fingers, it like
Yeah.
he couldn't feel his fingers, so he went and got a hot water bottle. I was like, I feel you, bro.
Yeah. Not easy. Not easy.
No, but I don't know the answer to this, but uh, I guess there's lots of T20 cricket to be played until the IPL T20 cricket. Now, all these guys
Mhm.
will be playing IPL T20 cricket, so I don't think it makes that much of a difference whether we
Yeah, for
lose to.
me, I think it. I would have liked to see him say, "Listen, this is a series. We're clearly a series. We're trying out the combination, trying out some of the players, etc." So I was a little disappointed to not see us choose to bat first and see if we can set a total on the board. Let's talk
So
about selection.
what did
Yeah,
you? Well, I was going to ask actually. I've been like Varun for once, and I haven't heard the last episode.
yeah,
What did you make about the Rohit and Kohli selection for those listeners like me who haven't actually heard the last episode?
yeah. I mean, I won't. There's a good plug to go back listen to the last episode. We got to talk about the tests, the second test, and we talked about selection. I think there was kind of two schools of thought, right? One is the people who are a little more negative about it and hey, why are they coming back? Let's give young blood, etc. I think there was a Twitter thread or X thread by Joy Bhattacharya actually who said, "Listen, they're raising their hand and putting their name in the hat. They're not. That's not a. There's no guarantee. They're like, why, if you're at this level in your game and you have accomplished everything these two guys have both accomplished, why would you not want to play a World Cup for India?" Right. So from their lens, raising your hand and saying, "I want to play" is of course expected and the right thing. Then it comes to the selectors. The selectors are sitting here saying, I, you know, the Afghanistan T20 series is the time to try them out. Right now, you can sit here and say in the two matches, did we learn much? But I, I
Not
think
about Rohit.
not about Rohit at all. Or maybe we did. Maybe we learned a lot about him, to be honest. But so I think net, I'm okay with it. Right. I don't want them to get selected. I think the problem for me is always that India doesn't, like Steve Smith, you mentioned he's the new opener, right? The fact that he's maybe one of the most decorated middle order batters in the history of Test cricket.
Greatest
And
since
now,
Bradman, right?
yeah,
Pretty
and now
much.
he's sitting here saying, for me to continue playing, I have to change to better serve the team. India doesn't quite have a culture like that, unfortunately. So that's my struggle, is that I hope the selectors, Dravid, don't feel the pressure to have to select them because they've put their name in the hat. I think it should be based on how they played this series, how they played the IPL, and the same kind of criteria that everybody comes with. The last thing I'll say, I don't think we should be lumping the two of them together.
That's exactly what I was going to ask you.
Okay, yeah, hit me. Go.
So, which one do you think is ahead of the other in the race? Because we've got players like Yashasvi did well, Rinku, Dube. You've got these three left-handers and I saw somewhere it's likely that only one of them will make the squad. And is there a
Because
world
then
in
you add
which,
in the Tilaks, and we weren't
yeah,
even playing Sky and Hardik this series,
Gill,
and Gill. Anyway, man,
Rutu
I don't.
was injured?
The answer is unfortunately for me clouded a little bit by my bias, but I'm a big Virat Kohli fan, as are you, right? So for me, he's like the last time he played T20s for India, he played that blistering knock for against Pakistan. He, for me, he plays a very unique, specific kind of role. I don't think they play the same role. I think there's a world where they could
Yeah,
both play.
yeah.
Uh, I don't know what you do with somebody like a Rahul, to be honest, in this setup. But to me, a Kohli, I
Didn't make
I
the
would.
squad. He
That's what
didn't
I
make
mean.
the squad. Neither
So
did
I would,
Shreyas.
but I'm saying even for the World Cup, I
Yeah.
don't. If he, what happens if Rahul has a monster IPL at 5?
Yeah.
Then what do you do? So anyway, we will have plenty of time to talk about all of that. Let's talk about who they did play then, right? So in the first T20, the team selection. So Gill and so Virat was not available apparently, and Jaiswal was also not available. Some groin injury or something. I don't know. I don't know why we don't have the ability to say they didn't get selected. There's always an excuse. But Rohit and Gill opened. Tilak, Dube, Jitesh, and Rinku kind of rounded up the batting. And then from a bowling standpoint, Akshar and Sundar were the two spin bowling all rounders. Bishnoi, and then your quicks were Arshdeep and Mukesh, and then Dube obviously bowled as well. How do you feel about that? How do you feel about that 11?
Pretty interesting because you have Washington. I think he bowled the 19th over,
Mm-hmm.
and he brings quite a lot of batting to that side.
Yeah.
So maybe, and there was some discussion around India doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results, which is the definition of madness, right? So
Mm-hmm.
picking Rohit Kohli and doing that, but maybe there was a little bit of a nod to that. We do need more all-rounders who can bat. We need more multi-dimensional players. The reintroduction of Shivam Dube. I mean, I don't know. It sounds like it's 2019, right, where we first saw him and we compared him to a lanky Yuvraj Singh. He could bowl a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
He could hit a big ball, but pretty much only on the leg side. Not
Mm-hmm.
much of an offside game. He bowled well. His action seems to have changed a little bit. He seems to have remodeled his action a little bit. It got put on maybe 3, 4, 5 Ks of pace.
Mm-hmm.
So from like low 120s, probably closer to the mid to the high 120s, which is not expressed. I mean, like Bumrah was
Yes.
bowling 140. Even Mukesh, who doesn't seem to put much effort into his 135, right? Um, but I think he was a revelation for me because I've honestly, like, he had a good IPL last year. But in
Yeah.
IPL, every IPL you get 8 overs, say, of not international quality cricket or international quality bowling.
Bowling.
You get
Yeah.
like one notch lower. You have probably 3 good bowlers that can keep 12 overs, right? And then you get 8 overs of not such good bowling.
Yeah.
He was, I thought, brilliant. I mean, Arshdeep, quite really good. Washington bowled pretty well. Um, yeah, I was happy with that. It seemed like it was a nod to getting players who could have more than one skill set,
Yeah.
playing those guys together. But again, I don't know whether that'll last when we get the Bumrahs of the world back, right?
And
And
then
Shami wasn't fit.
yeah, and we'll talk a little bit about the test squad because Shami hasn't made that for England for the first 2 tests against England as well. But before we get into the match, finally, going between the first and second test, we knew Kohli was now available, and Jaiswal as well. So how do you feel about Gill and Tilak being the ones to miss out for? I almost said Till and Gilak. So Gill and Tilak being the ones to miss out for
Gilak.
Gilak. Maybe if they do become India's future test openers together. Actually, Gill is going to bat at 4. But anyway, yeah, thoughts on that? On Jaiswal and Kohli coming in for the second match?
Yeah, I mean, Kohli, you don't pick a Kohli and make him sit on the bench, right? I don't know. It's not the kind of thing that would go down too well. And Yashasvi, he was a breakout player in this year's IPL, right? And he's since scored 100 on Test debut. He's made of the Test team. He's playing ODI cricket.
Mm-hmm.
He's almost like the Mumbai prodigy that we thought Prithvi Shaw would be. Another Test century debutant on debut. But he was brilliant. He smashed it everywhere, got out towards the end. Unluckily, I thought a little bit, I mean, it would have been nice for him to finish the game. But that's not how these guys play. They go after every ball. If you get 0 of 1, that's fine. It's very much Virender Sehwag in his approach.
And that's what we've been asking for, right? So I'm totally with you. All right, DJ, let's talk about the first match then, right? Not a ton to write home about in Afghanistan innings. Nabi had a nice little knock, but 158 for 5, kind of subpar at Mohali. 2 wickets for Mukesh, 2 for Akshar, and then 1 for 9 from Dube in 2 overs, which was absolutely outstanding. And
Arshdeep had a really good outing as well. He was spoiled a little bit by his last over, I think, which went for a few runs, but he was like none for 9 in 3 overs or something like that.
Yeah, and then he went for 19 or so. Second ball of India's chase. Rohit hits it to, I think it was mid-offish, and then sets off. Gill is ball watching.
Yeah,
the ball goes behind the bowler. It is the strike batter's call, and they get stranded at the same end. Rohit actually sacrifices himself, sort of. There probably wasn't enough
No,
time
Gill didn't
for.
move. Gill
Yeah.
refused to move. So
Then Rohit was seen unhappy, let's say, at Gill on the way out. And then, of course, the second match, I'm not getting to it fully yet, but Rohit gets out for a first baller. So do you sit here and say, listen, strike rate and balls wasted matters? In the first match, he was 0 of 2. In the second match, he was 0 of 1. That is like 100% improvement.
On what?
On number of balls.
The strike rate is still 0.
Yeah, but
what
he wasted 100% fewer.
Guy.
No, I didn't say strike rate. I said he wasted 100% fewer balls. That's
100% fewer.
If you're going to get out for a duck, but do it on the first ball, right?
No, so let's go to the first dismissal, which, I mean, it shows how badly Rohit wanted to show his T20 chops.
Yeah.
Right, because they haven't played, remember, since the end of the T20 World Cup, Virat and Rohit.
Yeah, I saw a Twitter account, by the way, that's now called Days Since Rohit Sharma Scored a T20 I Run, and it's 400 plus right now, which is pretty good.
So is it the same guy that was running the Days Since Virat Kohli scored 100?
Probably.
It's he's out of a job on that one, so maybe this is a short-lived, maybe quickly. Wednesday. No, but it showed you how badly he wanted to do well. His reaction was pretty uncharacteristic for an international captain to go after, what is it, Gill, 23-year-old, 24-year-old?
Was it uncharacteristic, though? You've seen Rohit. He wears his heart on his sleeve.
It was his fault, but it was Gill's fault. And
yeah, of course.
The usual thing in that scenario would have been for the younger player, the less experienced player, to run past his captain and sacrifice his wicket. Gill chose not to do that.
Yeah.
I don't know whether he knows anything. Gill is now the Gujarat Titans captain, right? Rohit is no longer the Mumbai Indians captain. Hardik Pandya is the Mumbai Indians captain. I don't know what was going through. It was an odd decision for someone who
flashed before his eyes as he was ball watching in that split second in single-digit Celsius temperatures.
These guys play like fast bowling at 160 clicks an hour. You make decisions quickly, right? Like, so in that moment, he was like, my wicket is more important than this guy's wicket. Because, truth be told, Gill is probably in better T20 form overall than Rohit. And he's got a more recent century in T20 cricket. He scored 126 at Ahmedabad, I think, early this year, wasn't it? Highest score by an Indian in T20 cricket. Year, highest score by 2023. Sorry,
and he had an IPL century in Ahmedabad too, didn't he?
Correct.
Yeah,
so maybe that was, but it was an awful decision by Gill to not run. It was an easy run. It should have been a run, but yeah. And then he sort of felt like he was a little bit disturbed by that.
Yeah, he did hit a few boundaries.
Yeah. He looked good while he was hitting those boundaries, but it looked like he was. I don't know why he was in a hurry to get back to the dressing room, because Rohit would have been waiting there for him.
I'll ask you the all-important question. Do you think that's why he got dropped in the second T20?
No. Apparently, Ishan Kishan...
He hasn't been doing a great job with it, by the way.
He has to defend all these guys. Like Shreyas Iyer, no disciplinary issue. He didn't make the squad. Ishan Kishan wanted a break. We didn't drop him because he was partying in Dubai. Was he partying in Dubai? I don't know. Has he been seen partying in Dubai?
My sources are as good as yours, so I don't actually know.
Yeah, but I'm like, okay, he's a young kid. It's fine. Like, I mean, mental fatigue doesn't mean that you sit at home. What do? You sit at home and be sad?
Yeah, no. You got to just take your time for yourself. 100%.
Yeah, do something else. Get your mind off your game. Maybe it's tough, right? Like, so, poor Dravid has had to come out with all of these clarifications constantly, but I mean, it's going to be a hard job picking the squad when it comes around, right? So, he was dropped because Yashasvi is the number one opener in India. Right?
Fair. All right. And then just to wrap up that first match, right? Despite being 0 for 1, Gill also got out kind of quickly-ish. Tilak looked decent, made about a run a ball, 25-ish, 26. And then it became the Shivam Dube show, right? So 60 of 40 balls, including obviously staying not out right at the end. Jitesh Sharma, by the way, also looked outstanding. And you mentioned that Jaiswal being a little Sehwag, but he even said after the game, he's like, listen, my role and what I come to do is try to hit every ball. Strike rate is
even
the
today.
most.
Even today, got out for nothing.
But tries to hit, right? And that's hopefully the mandate he's been given, and it's okay. Rinku came and finished it off along with Dube, of course. But yeah, great knock by Dube. I mean, back-to-back player of the match. We'll talk the second one in a second, but I mean, just a pretty clinical win. I mean, if you have three lefties, like you said, in your top top seven, I guess it is, four in your top seven when you add an Akshar. Am I doing this math right? Jaiswal, Dube, Rinku,
Rinku,
Akshar, Sundar,
Akshat,
five in your top eight
you
in the
could
second
have.
match,
You could.
which is
Yeah.
which is wild. Anyway,
Yeah, but
but
but also just think about it. This is a team that's missing Sky. It's missing KL, it's missing Kishan, it's
Hardik,
missing Iyer, it's missing Hardik. I mean, like picking the best
yeah,
Indian 11 is going to be hard. But what I liked with this team is it gives you like 2007 World Cup vibes, right? It's
yeah,
it's young, it's
yeah,
fresh, it's doing what it needs to do. It's not like old and stale, which is what our problem has been.
yeah. Couldn't agree more, DJ. So big first win on the board. We'll come back talk about the second match, which actually followed a fairly similar pattern in many ways. But we're going to take a very quick break. We will be right back. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back in a couple of seconds. Welcome back to the Edges and Sledges Cricket Podcast. If you're watching on YouTube, we didn't actually go anywhere, but DJ did remind me that you have to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. It helps us grow. We always love to hear from you. So also send in your comments. If you're live, send us your questions and comments. And if you're watching this later, post them. We always look at them. We try to reply to as many as we can. DJ, a couple things coming in. Ijaz has said, do we really think when we have a Virat and Rohit going out and saying they want to play, the selectors will overlook them? I think that's the point I was trying to make. I don't think we have if this was Australia, maybe. I think we don't have the culture of being able to say, listen, Virat and Rohit, you guys aren't two of our best 11 players. We don't have that. And so, but I don't think that's fair on the player to say therefore the onus is on you to step aside or sit aside, right? I think there's probably arguments in many directions. I also need to acknowledge Ram Kumar Iyengar has said, probably talking about Dube, what happened, where you said, what happened since we called him the lanky, and his response is he has been through Dhoni camp now. And that's true, right? Dube got to play under Thala in the IPL, and that could well be what kind of rejuvenated him as a T20 cricketer.
But it was insane. He was the designated spin hitter. Now that I think about it, why he's been recalled is because I guess, and you'll
Afghanistan
know this
spin.
better than me, it's like the West Indies and US grounds are likely to be slow, low spin,
Yeah,
friendly type grounds where a hitter like him, I mean, today he just took
the
Nabi
three
apart.
sixes that he hit in that over of Nabi were unbelievable. I mean, that one, I think it was the third one, was top tier.
Yeah.
I mean, it was wild. Anyway,
Because he looks awful when he's out of form, right? Like because when he's on song, he looks absolutely unstoppable, kind of rolling back the years, reminding us of UV at his
yeah,
best.
couldn't agree more. Let's talk about the second T20 then. So I mentioned the changes already. Again, 172, slightly more runs from Afghanistan, probably still not quite enough. Arshdeep picked up 3. Akshar, 2 for 17. Absolutely tremendous spell. Just outstanding. And what do you think of kind of going out with 172 to defend? Dube picked up 1 for 36. He was a little more expensive, but then Rohit, first baller this time. I've joked about it a little bit, but Jaiswal took strikes, so Rohit ended up batting on the 5th ball of the match this time. Bowled by Fazal Haq Farooqi. I mean, just a hoik, right? Kind of to clip to the top of middle stump, just a horrid shot. Now, you don't want to judge a guy off of one duck. And I say one duck because the second one was truly a bad run out. That was his partner's fault. So I don't want to take credit away from him there, but just not a great start to the calendar year T20I, World Cup year for Rohit, right?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, nothing to say, man. I mean, as Nikhil Avasti in the comments on YouTube has said, it was painful to watch.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, the Rohit's ducks were painful to watch because he is a class player.
And Arpit has said Rohit got out early because he wanted to eat Indoor's famous khichdi, which is no comment, I guess. I wouldn't. If it was vada pav, maybe, but khichdi, I'm not sure I would.
Also, like,
get out
who's
early.
running off to eat khichdi, man? Like biryani, I get it. Like,
Right,
khichdi is like, okay, at least in my mind, it's something you eat when you're not feeling too well. You
yeah.
had too much biryani, and then you switch to khichdi.
We're getting a little sidetracked. Let's talk about so Kohli walked in the first over of the match. Made what looked at, again. I have to try to put my bias aside because I like him so much, but he looked very fluid. He looked. I mean, there were a couple of shots, two fours actually that bounced maybe 6 inches short of the rope. That just made me realize why I would pick him in T20 cricket. But then you also kind of, I had the other side of that argument when Jaiswal was phenomenal, just absolutely phenomenal, walking back into the side. And Dube, yet again, when we mentioned those sixes, just hit some huge sixes. And took, the team got over the line with 26 balls to spare. I forgot to mention, by the way, how entertained I was that Afghanistan was 170 for 7 with 2 balls left and managed to finish at 172 all out, which is kind of a weird statistical phenomenon. But yeah, talk to me about the Kohli knock and talk to me about how it kind of compares to the two youngsters who made, I guess, the two lefties who made 60.
So the issue with this, and I'm going to play devil's advocate for a moment, is if you're going to have slow and low pitches in the Caribbean and US, Kohli hasn't been scoring very quickly against spinners in the IPL and T20 cricket generally. There's an article, I think, on Cricket for Crickbuzz, which says that he only attacks 1 out of every 8 or 9 balls every IPL. And so that's been the challenge. Whereas Rohit is probably a better hitter of spin. Someone like Shreyas is a better hitter of spin. You saw Yashasvi and Dube. The challenge is there's a school of thought, I think, Akash Chopra wants Rohit and Kohli to open. I get the logic of Kohli in Australia, right? And I was a big advocate for Kohli batting at number 3 in Australia. I didn't want a Deepak Huda or someone coming in to bat then. And I get it when you've lost early wickets that you want the safety of a Kohli, but it's T20. Are you going to win a T20 World Cup playing safe? We haven't. We haven't had. You don't win T20 World Cups playing safe.
You win T20 World Cups by having ball outs where you give the ball to a Thappa.
Robin Uthappa and Sehwag, and you have Joginder Sharma bowling at the end, and it's unknown quantities that do crazy things, and it's that quality is in the likes of a Rinku Singh, right? That guy who can hit 5 sixes to finish a game. It's crazy. He came from nowhere.
Yeah.
Right, and you know what
and
Kohli
you see it
gives
in a Jitesh, you see it in a Jaiswal,
and
you see
I
it
love
in,
him to bits, and I love Rohit to bits, and it's kind of hard to say that in a way, right? But Rohit and Kohli opening is more of the old. Whereas the freshness that T20 cricket needs, the young blood that it needs. You saw how England struggled. They won the T20 World Cup with a very similar team.
Yeah.
They lost the ODI World Cup almost immediately after that. They almost were in danger of ending last. But that freshness of youth that comes, the daring and the bold and brashness that comes, that you need that for T20 cricket. You may not need it for ODI cricket because it's a longer game. But you need Yashasvi to go after every ball. You need a Rink, you need a Jitesh.
Yeah.
But you don't need the strike rate is over. I hate saying all of this because it kind of feels like I'm...
No, I'm with you. It's hard. I'm totally with you, yeah.
But you need a reset at some point, right? You need to reset at some point and say, it's not worked. We haven't won a T20 World Cup for... This is actually quite 13. A scary stat. 17 years?
Sorry.
You haven't won a T20 World Cup for 17 years?
Yeah.
So, what are you doing wrong?
Yeah.
Rohit has won a T20 World Cup. I mean, that's part of the problem. He's still
it's
at
true.
the top of the order.
Absolutely right. So, I think the last question here, and I don't want to get too sidetracked. I want to make sure we give full credit to the team that did win. But is the onus on them to step aside? This is what frustrates me a little, right? Should you not have the infrastructure, the systems for the BCCI, for Dravid to make that tough call? And that's okay. That's okay. I mean, listen, you said you don't pick Kohli in a squad and leave him on the bench. Why not? If he's not your best 11 on the day, why do you have to say
then you don't pick him on the squad? You don't pick him in the squad if he's not your
why
best
do you have
11?
to say personal reasons or back spasm or whatever? Just say my point is, why is the onus on them to say I'm taking a break or I'm stepping aside? Why? Basically, we're saying if they're in the squad or if they raise their hands to get selected, they will be played, and then we'll be frustrated that we're playing the old way. That's my struggle.
We have that superstar culture, and we've always had that, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, we are guilty of it as much as anything else. I mean, I look forward to Kohli batting in a T20.
And I
was watching it today
too, man. Yeah, it was great.
And I like watching Rohit batting in a T20. But is this the best thing for Indian cricket overall, right? Or is it better to have a full reset and say, these are the young legs. This is the young new, fresh approach.
Yeah.
What England did 2015, they got knocked out of the 2015 World Cup ODI, and they said, you know what, Alistair Cook is now not going to be playing ODI cricket. We're
Yeah.
going to bring in Jason Roy,
Yeah.
and that is the difference. Now there comes a point at which the decision, I think the decision has been muddied by India losing the 2023 ODI World Cup.
Sure.
Because I suspect if Rohit had won that,
Yeah, he would not.
he
not
would have won the
necessarily.
ODI
He would
World
have given
Cup,
up
and
white
he
ball
would have,
captaincy.
I think he would have given up white ball cricket altogether.
I think at least captaincy.
Or maybe
but
ODI cricket. He probably
Yeah.
would have kept ODI cricket, but
Yeah.
T20 he would have probably given up. Now the fact that this comes between two World Cups, Kohli has never won a T20 World Cup. He's fit enough to play this
Or
game and compete. But Kohli can compete with a Gill for a spot
Sure,
because they're a
yeah.
similar player. He can compete with a Ruturaj for a spot. So they're similar kinds of tempos, right? He can compete with Rahul for a spot. He's probably the best anchor of the lot. I'm talking anchor, like that's the spot
Sure.
that you're looking
Yeah.
for.
Yeah.
Rohit, I mean, is he the best opener India have? T20 opener, is it? I don't know. Who are the other good T20 openers that we have? You have like Rahul Tripathi, who's nowhere in the picture. You have
Yeah.
Deepak Hooda, who's nowhere in the picture. Sanju Samson is nowhere in the picture. Ishan Kishan is rested. Sky is not playing. He scored 100 opening the batting. So you have multiple players who could do that job. Do you really need Rohit to be doing it? But there comes a point where they will have to, and perhaps that would have been if they'd won the 2023 ODI World Cup. They would have said, let's leave the kids to do the running around.
I think that's a great insight. I think it's disappointing that that's why we're here, but I come back to, I don't fault him or Virat for wanting to play. I think now it's a question of, do you have the right infrastructure in place to make the tough call if you need to? And it sounds like we're saying we don't. But let's see. We have one more T20I, and then we have a full IPL season. And you never know. If Jaiswal and Gill have breakthrough seasons and Rohit and Kohli have tough ones, you might see us make the call to say those two guys will be our T20 openers. So,
but you also need to give yourself the best shot of winning on those pitches. Australia, yes, 100% Kohli. Lots of experience playing.
Got to turn the
cricket
twos into threes. Got to huge boundaries. Yeah,
you need to go by stats. You need to go by data. You need to pick the guys that can hit the spinners and the slower bowlers for sixes. You're not going to get quick pitches in the Caribbean or I don't know about the US because I've never watched. We watched some Miami games.
I mean, the New York ground isn't even built yet. I mean, there's grass there. There's a cricket pitch, but there's no stadium yet. So
yeah, but you need the guys who are going to. And Iyer is not a bad shout. He's not even in the conversation again.
Yeah.
So.
All right, DJ, we need to wrap and we're going to talk about the test series, but final words for Shivam Dube. I mean, if you can come out here, pick up in the first two matches, 3 wickets, I think, collectively, make 63 in one, 60 in the other, man of the match in both. I mean,
was he man of the match in this one or did Akshar get it?
Akshar got man of the match in both, I think. Oh, I'm sorry, you're right. He did. Akshar got it too. Which is great. Well deserved.
And nice for Bapu as well, actually.
Yeah, very, very
on his comeback.
So, yeah, I mean, overall thoughts? Like final thoughts on Dube? How great is it? I mean, yes, he's friendly medium, but we've been talking about wanting somebody who can bat in the top 6 and give you a couple overs, and that might be the case, even though he's already 30.
I mean, in the absence of Hardik Pandya and the Shardul Pandey experiment, Shardul Pandey?
Shardul Pandey?
Mixed up 2 of your favorite players. Shardul Thakur.
You were talking about Pandya being
and Manish Pandey.
It's too much. That'd be an epic cricketer. Maybe if they get Shardul's batting and Manish's bowling ability, then what will do? All right.
Shardul Thakur experiment hasn't worked in T20 cricket either. I mean, he's the next, I guess, in line as a seam bowling all-rounder for India. And he's played for India before. He's faded away and he's made a comeback, probably improved. And I don't know, you're probably going to label him Hardik Pandya 4.0.
I think we're at 5.0 by now because we went through
Vijay Shankar was 2.0.
Yeah. Who was
3.0?
Was it? Yeah, maybe I don't remember. No,
Shardul Thakur was Hardik Pandya 3.0.
Sure. So we're at 4. You're right.
So I think, yeah. Dube is Hardik Pandya 4.0.
But at one point, Hardik was Vijay Shankar 2.0.
Sorry, wait. Ben Stokes was Hardik Pandya
yes.
2.0.
There it is. Vijay Shankar was 3.0.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're at 5 now. Anyway, we're having a great focused, productive discussion. I think congratulations to Team India. Congrats to Dube, man. You full credit. It's not easy to. It is harder to come back to make a comeback than to make a debut.
Yep.
And I have to give him full credit for that. And so it'll be interesting. He's given the selectors a lot to think about. Yeah.
But also Afghanistan won full strength. No Rashid Khan.
Yeah. But
They,
that's part of why I'm like, just bat first. Give your, you know what I
mm,
mean? Like this is you're trying out players, which I love, and
mm.
you should also put yourself in a condition, put your bowlers in a spot to defend. Make your batters set a total. So anyway, hopefully in the third T20, either we lose the toss and presumably Afghanistan will chase, or we win it and choose to do something different.
And what happens if Rohit scored a third duck? Drop him
What
from all
happens actually?
formats.
Who somebody is posted in the comments? Bharat, I think, is posted. Rohit's going to make a century, and then what do you do? Right? Like what happens then if Rohit makes a century in the third match? Then you're back to square one on all these discussions. Because
See,
gosh,
more than likely, the scenario that will play out is Rohit will injure himself during the IPL, so none of this will be an actual issue.
all right, we will come to this. We will spend a lot of time talking T20s. DJ, 5 tests kick off against England soon. Very quickly, let's talk about it's so exciting. Let's talk about the T20. Not T20. The Test match squad for the first 2 Test matches that has been announced. So, quick kind of headlines. Mohammad Shami missed out. It is nice to see. Obviously, we're expecting spinning conditions. There's been a lot of the pre-series drama. I think Ollie Pope has come out and says we won't complain about the pitches, but we know you definitely will, my friend. Kuldeep and Akshar are in the squad. Of course, Akshar totally expected. Nice to see Kuldeep back there. Bumrah is vice captain. Quick, we have Siraj, Mukesh, and Avesh in the squad. Couple surprises. Already announced that Rahul is not going to keep. So Bharat likely to be first choice specialist keeper against spin, which is interesting. And Dhruv Jurel has been fast tracked into the squad a little bit, which is a little bit controversial. No Kishan, no Prasidh, both out not by lack of being selected, but Prasidh is injured now. I think. Oh no, Prasidh was not selected prior to, but he got not selected prior to his injury. So yeah, overall thoughts. I mean, a lot of, and Shardul of course missed out, which is another big one. So
Yeah.
how are you feeling about this one?
I mean, the two big questions for me are keeper.
Yeah.
So Bharat is a very competent keeper against spin.
Yeah.
But what do you miss out with the bat is the question. England aren't probably going to play Ben Foakes. They'll probably play Johnny Bairstow.
Yeah.
So they usually take the other approach on this kind of thing. Like you'd rather value the runs with the bat. And Rahul's coming off like.
But how well has England done in India recently?
That's true.
So point being, if you're backing your spinners to win you the games by taking the 20 wickets, then a drop catch from a keeper or miss something or whatever it is, India's going to believe it makes more of a difference than the extra batter.
Or again, I'm going to this is 2024 is my year of playing devil's advocate.
Yeah.
Or if your spinners are creating 20 chances already, can't they create 24, 25 chances? And you take those extra chances and you get 40 runs with the bat in low scoring games. How much does that make a difference? I don't know. I mean,
yeah, of course.
Rahul was pretty good with the gloves in South Africa. He dropped one, which felt like he dropped Markram at the end.
Yeah, but keeping against quick bowling and keeping against spin bowling is night and day. Like keeping to spin bowling on Indian conditions. I mean, I don't know enough about the technicalities of wicket keeping, but what made Dhoni the beast that he is his anticipation and the movement, right? Like the ability to move basically as the ball leaves the bowler's hand, not waiting for it to pitch and then seeing what it does. And it's unbelievable. It's a completely different skill set, it feels like to me. And the best keepers obviously can do both. And Rahul is a batter who keeps, not a specialist keeper who can bat a little, like an MS was. So anyway, so I agree with you. Keepers, one big question is going to be interesting.
What do you think? How many spinners?
Yeah, what do you think the bowling combination is going to be?
I think it's going to be 3 spinners. It was 3 spinners because Akshar bats and he's a super important call.
I mean, if you have Akshar and Jadeja at 7 and 8 and Ash at 9, that actually gives you batting relatively deep. Minus call it Bharat at 6. And again, you could play around with who plays where in the Akshar, Jadeja, Bharat.
But a Rahul at 6 is such a luxury to have, right?
Yeah.
Think about it.
So what do you see and we'll probably have time to talk this before the actual test starts. But what do you see the order being? Rohit and Gill or Rohit and Yashasvi?
I think Rohit, Yashasvi,
Okay, so Gill will play 3,
Kohli,
Rohit at 4.
Iyer
Do you
5.
have an Iyer 5 or a Rahul 5?
I think Iyer 5, and then Rahul
I think
6.
they'll be thinking. No, but I'm assuming Bharat's
if
going to
he
play
keeps
6 now.
Yeah, I mean they've announced
So
that.
I'm assuming,
in effect.
Yeah, I'm assuming they are thinking of a Rahul at 5 instead of Iyer because of the not great series Iyer had. Although you have to say he's still one of the best players of spin we have. So.
Yeah. And he played really well in Bangladesh, remember, when we were struggling.
Yeah. No, I'm saying just on South Africa. Rahul made a century in very tough conditions and Iyer didn't show up. Yeah. And so...
But this is what I'm saying. Like, what we should actually be thinking about is whether we can afford to have a Rahul keep wicket and have them. Then 5 and 6 would be incredible. But you've then got the backup of as you said, you've got Akshar, you've got Jadeja, you've got Ash with 5 test hundreds coming at number 8?
Yeah, 9.
Which is
Ash would play at 9.
Oh yeah, because Akshar's there. Yeah,
Akshar would bat above him. It's 2 lefty batters who come in at 7 and 8.
So maybe that's what the view they're taking is that you've got enough on the all-rounders, and the all-rounders have actually been the point of difference between India at home and India abroad. Because the all-rounders have been brilliant. Like you've got Jadeja coming in at 7 and scoring 100. You've got Ashwin coming in at 8 scoring 100. You've got it's Akshar who can bat really, really well. Scoring runs again, including against Australia. So I think that's it. And then Siraj and Boom will.
Is it Siraj? Do you think Mukesh? Yeah, Boom is vice captain. He'll play, of course. But is it a Mukesh? Is it Siraj? Is it Avesh? I don't think Avesh gets a look, to be honest.
I don't think Avesh does. I think Mukesh did really well in. I think,
but in swinging conditions, right? He's good in this. I think you may.
Yeah, but he gives you more a bit more control than Siraj, but it's really hard to drop Siraj after what he did. He went 6 for, man.
I think Mukesh is really making a strong case for being the third seamer. Yeah, I don't know if he's yet.
Shami's absence, of course.
Of course. I don't know if he's yet making a case to be second.
Yeah. But DJ, Siraj is unstoppable on his day. He's got a Stuart Broad kind of vibe to him, right? When he starts getting into it, he's just like unplayable, right? So I think that's a team, really.
Yeah, I think that's right. It's going to be interesting. 5 tests coming soon. I'll wrap with a couple of fun comments coming in. Ramkumar says, probably fatigue too on keeping. To be clear, do you really expect them to bat or keep potentially the whole day and then bat? And again, that's kind of what test cricket has become a little bit. But yes, I think both arguments still apply in that situation. Ijaz has, of course, responded by saying, yeah, if it's a 3-day test, then that's pretty doable. You should be able to manage the fatigue.
But bat 6 also, no? He's batting down. He's not opening the batting.
No, yeah. But I think you're having more expectations from a batter. And it's a lot to ask for somebody to keep and bat. We don't always think about wicketkeepers as all-rounders, but they are. They're critical all-rounders, right? They're not just batters over there. Anyway, and then I'll wrap with a great comment that brings joy to my heart. That's a good reminder from Bharat Ramchandran. It says, this is why Pant is such an important player. He can bat at 5, probably the best player of spin in the team, and definitely let's call it good enough keeper, better than Rahul. I don't know if his keeping is at the Bharat Dhoni type level, but unbelievable. So, seen some good videos of his recovery on the internet. It looks like he's working very hard. It looks like he should find, hopefully, his way back very, very soon. And that's as good a note as any I can think of to wrap us up, DJ. It's been fun. There's been a lot of other stuff happening. You mentioned the Australian Open zone, so I'm a little distracted with tennis.
The
Kohli-Djokovic banter. It looks like they're exchanging DMs on Instagram, even though they've never actually met. So.
No, but the Kohli pulled a full power move on Jocks, by the way.
What did he do?
He was like, I was looking at his profile. And I opened his profile. I just, for some reason, wanted to went to messages. And I wanted to send him hi or hello. But I saw he'd already sent something to me.
Oh, so he'd sent something. Great.
Great. Power move. He's like,
of course. It's great.
So apparently Jocks approached Kohli. And not the other way around.
2 of my favorite athletes, 2 of the greatest to have ever played their sport.
But it's insane, right? Like, because you had Sachin and Federer doing that thing at one point. And that's a different, I don't know how to put it, maybe a different temperament, a different vibe that a Sachin and a Federer bring to it.
Yeah.
Kohli is much more a Djokovic character.
He is. He's that high intensity, wears his heart on his sleeve. And not as... yeah, I was going to say not as like kind of beautiful, elegant type of cricket, but they are very elegant. But just
Yeah.
like grinds it out, gets it done, delivers 50 centuries, 24 Grand Slams. I'm betting there's way more in his future. It's just great. It's just great, been
Yeah.
great to see.
Kohli also said
And
he wondered whether it was from the real account or whether it come from Novak's Djokovic, but
okay, no
apparently it was a
comment
real
on that
legit
one.
account.
I will wrap since we are talking about tennis with another exciting. If you haven't seen, we have an Indian male in the singles draw who qualified. Sumit Nagal has qualified for the Australian Open, so he plays in about 8 hours at the time of us recording this or being live. So very excited. He has a tough first round match, but hopefully he can make a dent, and it's just exciting to see. DJ, thank you for joining. This has been fun. Lots of
Yeah.
action. I'm excited for Test cricket to return, but we got one more Afghanistan T20 before then. If you are listening to us on on the podcast, again, check us out on YouTube sometime. We put these all out on video as well, so they're fun. You can watch us chatting and enjoy some of our reactions. You were also at One Tip One Hand at number one tip number one hand on all the social medias. We do read everything and we try to respond to as much as we can. So please send us those in, and we'll be back next week to talk about I guess more about the Test team and probably the next 3 months of just deliberating about T20 World Cup selection, because that is the life of an Indian cricket fan. This has been the Edges and Fledges Cricket Podcast. Thank you for joining us.